Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to a session of how to build my own rig. I have my lovely assistant, Fran, and Fran is actually going to emulate the lovely Carol Merrill, if everyone remembers Monty Hall and Let's Make a Deal. So she's my model. Trust me, it's better to have her in front of the camera than me. So anyways, the first part of this video, I actually want to walk through the components that we're going to use to build our mining rig. So the first component we're going to look at is the MSI Z170 gaming motherboard. Okay, and the lovely Fran, would you take it out of the package and show everybody? And make sure you use the ESD protective wrap so you don't short this out. This is coming to you from lovely Florida, so we have high humidity, so we don't really have to worry about the static shock as much. But one thing is, Fran, go ahead and show that again. Just want to point out a couple features about this particular board and why MSI has been one of my favorite boards. You have 7 PCIe ports, and 3 of them are actually the full-size ports. Additionally, you have the ability for 4 slots of RAM. Granted, we're not going to use only 1 slot of that, but the thing is, if you ever decide to use this board for another application, you can easily transfer that to a nice gaming box. Thank you, Fran. Okay. The next component, I actually use the ETHOS OS. One of the reasons I do this is it's very simple to use. It's basically plug and play, and this is just a 32 gigabyte SSD drive. If you want to go with Windows, if you want to go with Linux, that's up to you. Again, you're going to use an SSD drive, and that's going to just make the transfer very quick. The next component is the Intel Celeron processor. I'm currently using the G3920 Skylake. You don't need a really fancy processor. Most of the power is going to be coming with the next component, which is going to be our graphics cards. So in this particular rig, I'm going to demonstrate how to build this rig with 4 GTX 1060 dual GTX 1060 6 gigabyte cards. Okay, so this is going to be the heart of our rig. I've actually had really good luck with the NVIDIA product. I've done a rig. I built a rig with AMD and with NVIDIA. My preference is probably the NVIDIA card right now. And I'll explain why when we actually go ahead and set up the software on this. The next component is the GeIL 8 gigabyte. Well, we're actually going to go with 4 gigabyte of DDR4 RAM. I've seen other people build rigs with the 8 gigabytes. I don't really think it's necessary. Perhaps when you start adding, you know, a lot of GPUs, but with 4 would be sufficient. The next component is a 700 watt power supply, and in this case I'm using Rosewill's Glacier. It's just a very basic 700 watt power supply. One reason I am going with just the 4 cards is so I don't have to go crazy with a 1200 watt power supply or greater, where the price of the power supply actually almost doubles or even triples. The next component is the MintCell PCI riser cards. So I bought this in a 6-pack, and Fran's going to demonstrate what they look like individually. So you can see the riser card with the MOLEX adapter already connected, and it also has the USB to the PCIe interface. And when we demonstrate the building of the box, you'll see how this comes into place. I've had really good luck with MintCell. I've heard horror stories about buying cheaper brands. These cost a few dollars more. Honestly, I think it's probably worth the additional expense. The next part, this is an optional part. So some people don't care about putting a switch on it. You know, look, if you're going to take the time and energy to build a nice rig, you can at least add your power switch and your reset switch. It's not necessary, but for $4 or $5, it's worth a little extra effort. And the last component is going to be the standoffs. So and when you see the actual box, you're going to see that I have wood on the bottom, and this way I can keep the motherboard from actually sitting off the. And what Fran has is a larger one. I would probably go a little bit smaller, but again, it's up to you. So the last part is the actual frame. And in this case, we have a homemade frame. It doesn't make a difference if you want to buy one from the store or take your time and go to Lowe's or Home Depot and buy the parts. You just need a very basic frame. So in a nutshell, these are the components that we're going to be using to build the GPU rig. In just a moment, I'm going to take you through another video that actually demonstrates the construction of the rig. But I just wanted to lay out the different components, and obviously you can substitute for your favorite power supply, memory, and even GPU. Hope this was helpful, and Fran, take a bow.